How you doing? Monday morning. It is going to be 54 degrees here in it's southwest New York is where we're at. Little bird called Canistil, if you ever want to look it up. Glad you're here. This is Andy Braswell 61. We had 4 or 5 days ago on the video. Beautiful saw. Yeah, got stickers on it. They don't get stickers till I'm happy. They do not. I'm happy. Nice saw. This is for Andy's daughter. Like I said, I had to build this just a little different. I wanted, let's call it a sophistication of a saw. Let's call it that. I wanted it to be very strong because women like that. Girls like that. Ladies like that. And, but I wanted it to have characteristics of fairly easy to start, which this isn't bad. Lightweight. 61 is a little saw. But as you know, this is a 61 with a 272 conversion. So this is a 272. Inside, it's all dressed up outside like a 61. This saw has to be a lady in public, but it can get right down and dirty private. That's a good lady, isn't it? And this does it. I love this saw, Andy. I appreciate you letting me build this for your daughter. She should get years of good service out of this. I'm very comfortable with this saw. Very. I had it running about an hour ago. Maybe I can get it to start without a choke. I'll fire it up once. We're going to start other saws too. Don't go nowhere. We're going to start a 394 and a 395 right here in the shop today. Together. Oh, needs a little choke. That's good. Just keep it a little fat on the top end for just a couple days. After that, go ahead and adjust it. You're a different sea level on us. You might have to anyway. If you need help with that, just give me a holler. Okay, so that's it for this one. It's going in the box. It's going in the box. I'm happy. And it was a nice build. Remember, when you're doing 61s, 266s, you have to use the air horn from that saw to put the 272 top end on. You got to use the carburetor from a 272 or 268. Some of the carburetors on these 61s and 66s will work just fine. Some of them don't. So you need the bolts. You need the intake. New OEM gaskets. Do not use aftermarket gaskets on this, on the intake block, both sides. Just trust me. I have fought with them. I have had no luck with them. Every time I thought I had aftermarket gaskets sealed up, they weren't. It was just the way it is. So, that being said, the conversion is worth doing if you got a junk cylinder. Or if you just want to go bigger. They run extremely well with that 272 top end. Now the white top, like I've got up here, you have to put a little notch right in this spot right here for the spark plug boot to come up through. These ones, you don't have to. So that's kind of cool, ain't it? So let me go through the throes of death to get these 394, 395 saws started. You'll hear a difference between the saws. They've got the same muffler, they got the same everything, but you'll notice a difference. They sound different. They're the same bore and stroke. So I had this one started about the same time. I'm going to just set it on the floor when I get it started, get the other one going. It needs choking. Okay, obviously the one on the left is 394. What I do, okay, gotta open the door. Bear with me, guys. That kind of stuff winds me right up. I gotta open another door. Hey, you know, let's do something. Let's see what this 61 sounds like next to a 394. Seems how we're fogging the shop up, right? Well, maybe I'm not going to. I need a choking and my choke lever, come on. That gives me something to do while I'm talking to you. Yeah, it's pretty exciting, ain't it? Yeah, I hear a pair of them big saws running side by side. You know what it just reminds me of? It reminds me of back when I drag raced. What them cars sounded like. That's what it reminds me of. I got seriously jazzed right there. What happens to saws? If your choke lever comes off your carburetor like this one did, A, you might not have got it all the way on. Which may have been. I might have done that. Or it's been on off a few times. and it needs to be spread out just a bit, which is the most likely thing. I mean, I wouldn't do something goofy there, would I? Sure the heck would. Okay, let's look at this. Yeah, you see, that's the end of that. That's pretty tight. So all I gotta do, get a little screwdriver, not a big one, just spread that in just a bit, so it's opened back up like that. So we'll get this little joker in there. Actually, today being Monday, I've actually worked on saws all weekend. Little private thing I've got going on right now between me and Buckin is I've been working on this Pioneer P41. I'm not showing that on the channel just yet. I gave you the entry level a while ago. So let's just see what that does. We're doing bad, terrible things to a P41 Pioneer for Buck and Billy. Pretty piped about it. I'll tell you right now, the saw that I did for Buck and Billy, that 371, that real high compression one there, that's a test saw. And I talked to Bucket about it. He knows it. We're testing the ceramic bearings to see how much they'll take. So I put gobs of compression in that, flowed the cases, and it has an NWP crank in it. I prepped the crank, you know what I did. And the timing numbers on that saw he's running of is nearly stock. Okay, so the work is in compression, which that does build power to a point. You get too much and it doesn't. But the most important is flowing the cases, matching the cylinder to the cases, and that kind of thing. And so the one that we just did for Lumber Jackson is the same version, a little lower compression, even though it's got the same piston. I can't tell you the numbers. I wish I could. They're beyond what I recommend you guys trying. But when you exceed your exhaust, your intake, I've told you this, duration and exhaust opening, there is some things you have to do. You have to already be good at porting to start doing that. Because I will promise you, if you cross 160 degrees total opening on your intake, and you go below 98 on your intake or on your exhaust for opening, you're risking to have a solid fall right on its face. If you can't get your air up through them transfers with a long duration intake, it's going to come out the carburetor instead. I will guarantee. Okay, let's just see what this one will do now. It'll be better, right? Oh, it fired right up. Hey, guess what? I just run this 394 out of gas. That's hilarious. That's okay, we got more gas. I shouldn't be messing with that kind of stuff, but I have a true love for power saws and for the people that run them. You out there that's making a living on your saws, I mean, I know what that's like, done a long time. If you cut your own firewood, fence posts, whatever, I know what you need. I know what you like. If you're a weekend warrior just cutting cookies in your backyard and want to tick off your neighbors, I know what that's like. But I don't have trouble like that. But it you do it because you love the stuff. You really do. Uh, I'm finding other little channels every little while. Found another one this morning. I'm going to see how that goes, and I might tell you about him. But there's some good ones coming up. There is. There's some that's not so good. If you want to have a good YouTube channel, keep it clean and don't grumble about everybody else. I don't even privately grumble about anybody, and I'll tell you why. When you've done anything long enough, you're immune to it. You already know anything that's a sport or a hobby is where you get this infighting every time. I'm not that guy. I do not care if somebody builds a faster, hotter, meaner saw than me. I don't care if they build one that's slower. I don't care if they don't do it my way. They do it their own way. You get results. Results is king, right? That's all you need is results. So, that being said, power saws can be fussy and finicky. They really can. So, knowing this, when you build them, sometimes they may not start. Or it seems like 1 out of 3 saws for me, honestly, there's some little hiccup, like the needle in the carburetor isn't exactly set right. I go into the carbs, clean them, do whatever, but sometimes you miss things just because you're in a hurry. My biggest problem is when somebody's visiting with me, if I'm sitting right here and trying to work on saws. I can visit with you guys and work on saws, and I love that. You know what the problem was, though? If you remember when I first started way, way, way back, my first 10 videos, I sucked. I couldn't it was hard to talk and work on saws at the same time. And, oh my goodness sakes, the minute I turned the camera on, I'd make some kind of huge mistake because it was a distraction. Now, that still happens. It still does. So if you're new to YouTube and you're having these things happen, expect it. Tell you another thing that happens on YouTube. Take a camera or your phone. I use my phone a lot. Take it outside. Try to get some videos that you're going to edit. You're clipping them together and stuff. Oh my goodness sakes, you can't see the screen. And I'll turn it off when I think that's on, and I'll turn it on when I think that's off. So I don't get my videos always. I think if this weather holds, we will be running these saws a little more. I desperately need to firewood. I really do. I got to do something about it. I'm very low, but we're burning coal. I mean, you can keep a low fire for a while, but when it's in the 50s, coal, you shut that stove down too tight. It don't. I don't even have a fire in here today. That's why I've got my little jacket on. This 395, I'm not sure what direction I really want to go with it. That's definitely a keeper. 394, I already told you what I'm going to do with that. I got to change the cases. We've got new cases for it. And I'm going to make it a really comfortable 394. It's going to be an all-factory 394, right down to the rings. And I just want what the factory could have done if they wanted to. When you are making saws on a production line, they're not always deburred. You're going to find things inside them that the machining is great. Everything runs. It'll run a long, long time. But there's things that could have been better. And so I'm just making it. I'm not even going to call it a wood spork. I'm just cleaning things up when I do that. And we'll share that on video. But you can see there's a definite difference in tone. I could feel a huge compression difference between a 395. 395 is lower compression by far than a 394. That's pretty stiff. That's one thing I notice. So it'd be kind of neat to see them cylinders and see what the differences are. And maybe we'll document some of this. And then when we get both saws apart and back together, we can tell you what they were. and maybe what you could do about it. These big saws, 394, 395, neither one really need a whole lot to be happy for a logger. But tell me what logger wouldn't want just that little bit more, right? Just a little bit more. Let me get something. Let's toss an idea. Okay, what I had to do was get a box. One of them. Now, as you know, 394, 395 are a windowed piston. And we know what to do there. I think I'm going to run a lightweight piston. Let's just see. These are a little heavy. They're 56 millimeter bore, okay? This one's 58. That's no joke, guys. 58 millimeter bore is no joke. I'd have to calculate what the CCs would be. Now, I want to build stock stroke, 58 millimeter bore. Warm this one up a bit. Just do it. Now, when you do something like this to a 90cc saw or better, when you go 2 millimeters bigger, you don't realize how much you're really gaining for compression. So you got to be careful. So that little pop-up right there may or may not stay there. We'll just see. What I'll do is put this in, throw the rings in, just do a static test with just a little oil, and just see. And I got to be able to run the darn thing. Old Dave over there by the wood stove there, that's a big bore 66 Magnum. That's the short tank one. That's the first edition. You guys have probably seen that build. Oh, that was horrible. That saw set 5-6 years in the back of a pickup truck with no cylinder on it. I just looked at it as a junker. Well, I got feeling sorry for it. My old buddy Dave died. He got killed in a logging accident. And you all know that story. I decided I better bring it in the shop. And I should have just put some oil in the darn thing, because I didn't. But I decided there, a year ago, 2 years ago, let's just see if I can resurrect that thing. I did it. I resurrected it. I did. I don't know how, but I did it. And it is a very strong saw with a big bore. So, I want to try this big bore on that 395 with a stock crank. And I tell you why I want to try it that way. For Eric Nelson, we are building a 394 with a 395 top end. Big bore. Now, I already built it as a 395 for him. And with one of these cylinders. It's not Titanical, it's the other one, the regular one. It's a very strong saw. I don't have a film clip of it. Maybe he'll send me one of that running. But you know what he said. He knows I do strange things. And they work, generally, I'm going to put a 2100 crank in that 394 for him. I'm going to gain 2 millimeter stroke. We're going 2 millimeter bigger bore. We're getting 117 cc's out of this thing. And it depends on being a real lightweight piston for that to make a big difference. Because you're limited to our cut speed by what your RPM is in the cut. You know that. We do not care about peak RPMs. Do not. Don't even worry about that. Throw your darn tack away. Start tuning in the wood. And get it where the saw's really happy. Read your plug. Shut it off clean after a long cut. Just shut it right off before it goes to an idle. And look at the color of your plug. That'll tell you everything you need to know about tuning. Once in a blue moon, you'll see me use a tachometer on this channel, but rarely, just rarely, I need to get where that I can tack them in the cut, don't I? That's what I do. We will be here before very long sending a saw to Dino Joe Mods. He's got it. We're gonna dyno one. I actually would like to dyno a 372. I'd love to dyno Lumber Jacksons, but he's jonesing for a saw, and I know it, so I'm not gonna do that to him. But I've got a few builds here, so I'll get one sent out. I've got one in mind as soon as I get to it, and we'll just see. We'll just see how accurate his dyno is, and we'll see how a saw that's strong in the wood, and we know it. We're gonna run a saw. We're gonna document it. I don't know if we'll do time cuts. I'll let you guys do the time cuts just to see. Maybe I'll find a stock. Oh, I've got a stock 372 here, the one I'm building for Bill Block. So we'll be able to make time cuts between a stock 372 in the same wood, and that one's in exceptionally nice shape, so there's no loss in power from being wore out, to one of my ported 372s. And then we'll send that ported one to Dyno Joe, and we're going to just have fun with this. This is all about the lark, you know. I think if I built saws for firewood guys and loggers and repaired homeowner saws like a lot of these other guys, I would be bored right to tears. I would. I don't know if I would like that. And I know if I didn't have YouTube, I wouldn't like it very much either. This is a lot of excitement for me. The builds you guys are doing, what you've learned, what you've picked up, or if you got saw questions, get in them comments. If you got a serious saw question that's going to be lengthy, email me, and I'll do my very best to answer. I'm getting my emails again now. Every little while, I have a problem. And it's more because I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't get a whole mess of emails, and people get upset because I'm not reading their email. And, well, it's just because I didn't get it. And but I know what I'm doing wrong now. There's 2 boxes that's got to be on, so I get all of them. Otherwise, I get just half of them. And so that happens. That's the way it is. Let me know where you're at with your saws. This is something I have a strong interest. Get right in the comments. I will promise you, I read every one. So when you leave that comment, I'm listening. I'm paying attention. And I every morning after I've made a video and posted it the evening before, I get to go through them comments. And I get a lot of comments, and they're wonderful, most of them. I did have one this morning that the guy was very rude. I won't mention his name, but very, very nasty. He was being very nasty to me. Block. That's it. Get out of here. He's not a normal. Never seen him on a channel. You guys are what's important, not idiots. Guys, I'm going to post this video here in a little bit. It should be up this afternoon. Of course, by the time you see this video, you already know that, right? Yes, you do. Hey, I had a question for you. This summer, when I don't have a crap load of work backed up for a year and a half on me, I've got a nice pair of old 41 steels. One's a Farm Boss. One's the AV. They're very beautiful saws. They're right up here on this shelf. And I'll show you the handles. I'll show you. Oh, my goodness sakes. You see that pair right there? Nice saws. I haven't done one of them ever, as far as porting it. Let's entertain the thought, do nothing to destroy a historical saw. But let's just see what we can do with one of them without hurting it. I don't want to raise the peak RPMs if I decide to do it. I just want to raise it in the cut. And let's just see if we can take one of them old buggers and really make it something. I know one thing. They vibrated like crazy because their mounting system, they really did. You couldn't keep the mufflers on it for nothing, could you? 031s, 041s, all of them. They did some weird things to them saws back then. Everything was still development. Look where saws have went. Look at some of these new saws. No, I don't care for new saws. That's not my era. I like older saws. I like the ones you find in garbage bins. That's what I like. something somebody else threw away. Well, why'd you throw that away? I couldn't get parts for it. Well, can I take it home? Well, you can have the darn thing for all I care. Then you run into the guy and he said, "Oh, I seen my son video. Oh my goodness sakes, that was crazy. I wouldn't mind that saw back, you know." Well, we can talk about it. Yeah, we can talk about it. Probably not, but we can talk about it. Okay, that's it, guys. See you later. Bye.